Hold up.
So here we go. We are recording our banter for our AFL draft. As you can see
Just a bit
on,
of banter.
yeah, just a bit of banter. On the screen, you will see all of several Americans who are footy crazy from a little bit of everywhere. This draft group, we have 12 altogether, and we have somebody in each and every single time zone. So this is a fun get together. So I'm excited for this. Gentlemen, it's great to see you all as we started the draft. I'm not going to be able to put the draft board up on this. I'm not that technologically sound, but we will probably banter for the next at least couple hours. So I'm really excited about this. So it's
Well,
great to
wait,
have
did
you
you
guys
say
on.
every time zone? Do we have someone in Hawaii or in Alaska?
Yeah, well, I was thinking the 48 states, so that's not good.
Contiguous
Well, and and
48.
and, and
Yeah.
Hawaii should be an independent country, so
I won't
just
argue with you on
saying.
that one. So,
Gil is our resident Hawaiian.
wow.
That's
So,
true. I'm learning the language, so I've
yep.
been studying it for a year.
Kudos.
Rick, looks like
Took
you're on the
you
clock.
took the flyer on Errol Gould in there, Gil.
All right. Very impressive.
It's not a bad decision. If he continues the growth as he has the last couple of years, wouldn't be surprised. Like I said, the biggest issue will be is does he go inside or does he stay outside?
Yeah, he's a gun. Like he's gonna get his hands on the footy. Like
My worry is teams will start tagging him more this year if he goes inside. That's my worry with him.
well,
Like,
with Parker out, he's definitely gonna get more attention.
and
No
see, I
question.
don't know. Gus Sheldrick can step right in and play the same role Parker is, so you can keep Goulden on the wings, and then you can rotate James Jordan and Braden Campbell out in the other wing. So I don't
And where
think
does
you
Taylor
need to.
Adams fit in?
What was that? Taylor Adams, I
Where
think,
does,
will play your small forward. You play
okay.
your half forward flanker and then rotate through the center for bounces along with Tommy Papley,
Adams
roll
is
bottom.
just
So
I love Adams, but he just can't stay healthy. If he is healthy, like I love him in that small forward role for you guys. But fingers crossed.
sometimes when a player leaves a club, sometimes their health changes. I mean, look at the big tall guy from Brisbane who couldn't get healthy at Essendon.
Danaher.
Yep.
Joey Danaher.
Joey Danaher could not be healthy for over 2 years, only played like 5 games. He's played 2 seasons in Brisbane and he's only missed like 1 game. So sometimes a change of location and a change of staff can change that. So
And that
Donnie,
game might have been
is
because his
Sam
daughter
Reed
was being
still
born.
playing?
yeah, he's again the bane of many Swans fans' existence because he's so inconsistent going kicking goals, but he's got such great hands. He's a great marking target. I think I'm interested to see if they're trying to kind of use him potentially as a fluctuating, rotating backman because he's got the size. The only issue I see is that he's not a great one-on-one defender. He's a very good intercept defender. So I'm interested to see because Logan McDonald, Hayden McLean, and Joel Armati were kind of the three-headed monster for the forward line within rotations with Hayward, Heaney, Papley, and then like I said, it sounds like Jordan will come in there. So it'll just be interesting to see if Reed does see the field. The biggest thing is can he stay healthy? He just has not been consistently healthy besides the 2022 season. Other than that, he has not been consistently healthy.
Mm.
So,
All right, Ethan, give us something. Ooh, Dacos. First
wow,
Dacos.
I was
Uh,
wondering if somebody would take a flyer on him. I was interested
that's
when I was putting my
that
board
is
together.
I
that
had
is
a
not a
feel.
flyer. That is not a
He
flyer
stays
on
healthy.
yeah,
The
but for me,
narratives are so strong.
he's
Mm.
also multi-positional. He can play, he's eligible defender and mid. And Donnie knows how much I love my
Yes. Oh yeah.
multi
There
multi
was one
diverse
year almost your
players.
entire team was dual players. This year though,
Yeah.
when I went through the dual, there is not a lot of dual players this year.
No,
Well,
that's true.
I noticed that big time early that there are not a lot of dual players this year. So
Mm,
I'm interested to see how that goes. So
definitely.
Game on, coach.
how come I'm not surprised the Fremantle guy takes the top Fremantle player?
Oh yeah.
He's going against the Easy E school of drafting. Don't
you know,
get high. Don't get high
I
on your own
rarely
supply.
get the privilege. I rarely get the
Yeah,
privilege of getting a top guy.
Yep.
he's usually later in the round. So usually some of the top guys tend to go a little bit quicker. So
Well, the Easy E school of drafting says don't get high on your own supply.
well, and the other thing too you got to
True.
pay attention to is you don't want too many players from one team because if you hit a buy round,
Yep.
it can really make it difficult sometimes unless you just don't care about the buy rounds. So
Good one, Ben. Back-to-back picks. Here we go.
Yeah, we're snaking through to
yeah,
to the second
the
round.
snake draft sometimes can be quite
Yeah.
interesting there because you can if you want, you can kind of be interesting with either one of your picks.
Yep.
I don't think I'm
If
going too
I
far
if I
off the
apply
board
the
with
logic
either
that
of
I've
these.
used in fantasy baseball drafts, when it snakes around, you're kind of picking need based, knowing that you're not going to go again for a while.
Yep, and that's what I was kind of thinking too.
Like you pick based on positional need, but also you can kind of set the market and kind of like if you go at a position that's pretty limited, you can kind of start a fire sale on everyone in one spot. Now that's less so in this format other than maybe with Ruckman, but
Darn you, Ethan, you were taking the one I was looking at.
That was me.
Oh, sorry, Ben. Sorry, Ben. Right last name, wrong one. Sorry.
Here we go.
Right house, wrong floor.
Yeah, pretty much.
Blame it
Quite
on
literally, we're
Brian.
2 floors apart right now.
Yeah.
Blame it on Brian.
he's just sitting on the floor chilling.
On Griman. That's funny.
Ooh, damn! I was looking at Sinclair.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
Well, when Sicily and Dacos went off the board, that's the next best defender.
I reckon Sinclair's going to have a big year. So that's smart.
Yeah. And,
Now,
and
could
Sicily, I
Liam
just
Henry
thought
take
was,
some of his touches though?
Sorry.
I think Liam Henry's going to play the wing. Honestly,
that makes sense. That's
that
opposite.
is from what I'm hearing. That it sounds like Liam Henry is pretty much wing bound at St. Kilda. The question will be is who plays the other wing.
Yeah, I mean, playing opposite Sinclair, there could be a possibility. You see Sinclair shoot up to the wing.
Yeah,
A lot.
that's a possibility too.
You can see either Henry or Sinclair is a real link player. I was talking about this when Ethan and I were talking about Geelong. So we were on for a short time with the Hoops crew after their match sim, and in their first kind of post game discussion of the year, I was talking about how I want to see, for example, Brad Close and Sean Manna for Geelong as sort of those link up guys. Manna is the VFL Grand Final best and fairest winner in a losing
From Werribee. Yep.
Right. I was going to say he's a new name for sure, but I know
he killed it at Werribee last year. Kicked six goals in the grand final. He's 26, so he's a little bit older, but he is incredibly talented. He's one of those.
It's a perfect Geelong pick.
And the best part is that they don't have to worry about having him develop or gain strength. He's already got man strength already.
And
so the question will be is can he go from VFL level to AFL level and not take a step backwards?
Well, that's the thing. Like being able to get a mature age VFL recruit, like that's such a low risk kind of thing. Like I'm not surprised at all that they took that chance. It wasn't too risky. Definitely makes sense. Like you said, an ideal recruit. Yeah.
To go off you, Lee, on that pick there, I'm kind of surprised they didn't put Petrarca as a mid forward. I really am shocked.
Nice pickup, Ethan.
Yeah. There's a lot more of an obvious. Yeah, like you said, Donnie, there's not many utilities this year.
Or dual. There's not a lot of dual players that are as years before. There were years before if you went to dual players, there's 5 or 6 pages. There's like 40 or 50. This year there's only like 25. I'm like, wow,
I made bank off of my dual guys last year. Toronto, I think, was one of my first pickups, and then out of the first years, obviously Shiesel. As soon as he got defender status, that opened up my rotations a lot.
Oh yeah. When he went to a defender, I was like, whoever is, I was like, he's in bank there just because of it. So
yeah, we don't have any like super high up dual position guys this year. I think McRae is the top rated one.
Yeah, McRae's the top one.
He's still in some doubt for round 1 in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, McRae is, then Caleb Daniel, Shai Bolton, Blitzov, Zarko, Jackson, Flanders. So it'll be quite interesting to see that one. So
Yeah.
Well, Lee and Gil, you may appreciate, when I talked to Duck from Purple Rain for the Fremantle preview, his bold prediction for this year was that if Sean Darcy plays 5 games or less this year for the Dockers, Luke Jackson will win the Brownlow.
Interesting. That's an
Okay.
interesting shout there.
That's a
I mean,
very,
it was-
very
he was-
specific bold pick, though.
Yeah,
Very.
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Very.
I think that was his
I
way
get
of
how it
saying.
can happen though.
How come
I
I'm
think
not
that was his way of
surprised that the
saying
Carlton
he wasn't
person
real
picked the
keen on
Carlton?
them signing him to a big contract.
Well, was that auto draft luck there for Khalil?
Maybe, I
he-
don't know, but he's a Carlton supporter, so
Oh, of
him
course,
getting
yeah.
Doc doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and Jawan's right with me.
Yeah. So
She's old. She's old. She's old. I played with a guy briefly at the Dragons who played junior footy with Sheasel. Yeah, he was huge last year. I would be shocked if he's not, top three best in Ferris for North. Top three best in Ferris for North. Definitely.
North Melbourne is going to be a very interesting. They're going to be a very interesting case study this year because they are heavy and loaded in the midfield.
Yeah.
But they're
Sheezel,
young.
he's Harry Sheezel. He's just 19 and plays footy better than you.
Because I'm look at it as if they can keep Luke Davies Uniacke healthy.
Yes, he's huge.
And Wardlaw can stay healthy. Then it's who's the third? Is it Colby McCurcho, one of their draft picks? Where does Zane Dersma play? Does Sheasel go up or does he stay along the halfback line? So there's a lot.
And either way, they're kicking to Larky, and Larky's going to be.
And Larky's one of the most difficult forward. I mean, considering he's got 50 goals the last couple of years on a wooden spoon and a second to wooden spoon team, so he's almost an automatic goal machine. So it'll be very interesting to see how Zane Dersma, Colby McCurcha, and the youngsters of North handle this year because there's a ton of talent. It's can they step up and play really good footy with a full off season under Clarko? That'll be the other one.
Excuse me.
Will they
very
get a
young
full
backline
season
as
from
well.
Clarko?
That too.
Sure, yeah. Ooh, Ross picked up Trelaw.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's
The
see.
only thing again, Trelaw is only a
last
midfielder.
year.
He is only a midfielder. He had been in previous years in mid forward. So it's like he's
like I think it's gonna be interesting to see how the doggies use him this year because coming off a disappointing season, Trelaw's a guy, if you get him involved and if he's involved in the right position, he's not playing out of position, then it's game on because you already know what you have in Bont, McRae, Libba, all those guys. It's just I think they've just never really consistently figured out how to fit Trelaw within that group. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. If he's healthy and if he's, 25, 30 disposals a game, then, they'll be in it again. Good
North just got such a young back group and a whole lot of questions there. They were already thin even when Ben Mackay was in. And that's just even more of an issue now. Are we expecting Biggie Nuwan to jump out of nowhere and get Brownlow votes in 3 games? As much as that would be awesome. I love Biggie.
Yep.
So we've got 8 minutes here.
Dunkley, good one, Craig.
So, Craig, you're actually drafting properly, everything is working properly for you?
Absolutely.
Last year, I had literally never heard Craig so frustrated ever. I'm like, oh god, this is going to be awesome.
He's had 12 months to plan his return.
Well, I got a new computer too, so that helped.
All
right. Nice to have the computer with the phone as a backup.
Yeah.
What was your team name?
I opened up the.
It wasn't Old Pesty. Where did that one come from?
Oh, Old Pesty's not him though. That's one of the new guys.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was like, wait, that wasn't your name here.
That's Ben, the one that's moving from Denver, I think he said.
Right.
Yeah, Craig is still a yank on the footy.
Yeah.
I see a couple new names here. Couple
Yeah,
obvious
where's
ones.
Jim based again?
New Mexico, Taos. It looks like.
Right. Oh, good
Oh,
stuff.
Taos. That makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense.
I love New Mexico. Taos is like the one place I haven't been.
Yeah, I used to live there for 2 years. Used to live in Albuquerque.
Oh, right. I forgot
For
about
2 years. Yeah, Taos is really nice. Taos is
Mhm.
like what Santa Fe used to be when it wasn't overrun with tourists.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice place.
Yeah.
I enjoyed New Mexico,
Yeah, it's beautiful. state.
food
I
wise,
lived
especially.
in Las Cruces. I went to school there, so
Oh, you went to New Mexico State?
sure
Oh,
did.
you're in Maggie.
I am.
Nice, nice. You know, it's
Oh,
funny when I was in Las Cruces and I asked people what to do there, they said to a person, "Go to Juarez." So I put my fear of getting kidnapped aside and spent a fun night in Juarez.
Oh yeah, it's
I like
my
Mesilla. I like
uh,
Mesilla too.
Mesilla great. Mesilla
Yeah.
is a chill suburb. You know, White Sands is right there. You know, you can
That's right.
yeah, and of course, like I'm sure we're gonna start getting the Oppenheimer tourism because like the Trinity site was literally an hour away, but you can only go there twice a year because it's still pretty radioactive. So yeah, never got a chance to go there, but yeah, times.
It was crazy seeing some of the stuff with the filming of Oppenheimer. So I was on campus
Yeah.
in Berkeley when they were filming some of that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I knew
So,
they had a few things there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, trying to do as much as they could on site. So they sectioned off parts of the campus, like they sectioned off the area by the
Stadium. Yeah.
well, the area by the stadium, but also the big clock tower, the
Right,
Campanile
right.
they call it, Sanders Tower.
Yeah.
They like it was like all period appropriate cars and stuff and attire. I saw a peek of some of it. One of my friends caught a shot of Christopher Nolan actually walking through campus, which was kind of surreal.
Nice.
And then but it was cool seeing a look at some of that because like it made me think like, oh, this is like something similar to what my great uncle and my grandparents saw when they were in school. My great uncle was at Cal, got drafted, then came back, graduated in 47, and then my grandparents on that side were classes of 54 and 58.
Mm.
And then also the scene that was was allegedly at Stagg Field in Chicago, where under which they built the first reactor. That was actually filmed at the soccer stadium over in Berkeley.
Right. Yeah. That was
Edwards Stadium.
Yeah.
So it just seeing that it was just like kind of like surreal, thinking, oh, I've done so many too many soccer matches there to count and other things like that.
Yeah. No, good stuff, dude. Okay,
Was it
back to back for Jimbo again. Interesting.
Well, it's the snake. So
yeah.
And he
Ethan
got
had this
Steven-
last
and he
Port
got Stephen
Adelaide that had
Kenneally
the
on
whole
the first one,
Oppenheimer
so.
reference thing?
Sorry.
Was it Port that had a whole Oppenheimer thing last year?
Yeah.
Probably.
I forget the details, but yes.
Yeah.
The only other thing I remember is Hawthorne and Wet Noodles.
Well, I was gonna say, like, if they were gonna do like an Oppenheimer thing on social media, they would have to rebrand themselves as the Port Adelaide Nuclear Power.
I can beat you with that one. There's a town.
They never specify what type of power it is, so
I got one to beat you though. There's a town called Covert, Michigan.
There is.
Any team in Covert would have to be called the Operations.
Right. Exactly. There was this. It reminds me because like there was one time on I think it was the Nuffies on AFL page on Facebook, which was like why do they call them the Brisbane Lions? Lions don't live in Brisbane, and it's like, oh yeah, and Port Adelaide doesn't even have power, and there's definitely not giants in the Western Sydney suburbs, or are there?
Oh no, there's like far worse ones if you want to look at like high schools.
It's so dumb. Yeah, I love it.
How is Palo Alto the Vikings?
Yeah.
There are no Vikings in Palo Alto or in Millbrae.
Do you remember the old ESPN commercial? There's a high school in New Hampshire that their nickname is the Nimrods.
I thought they were in Michigan, but yes.
I thought it was Michigan, yeah.
Well, what about UC Santa Cruz, the Banana Slugs?
Yep.
That's
See,
as
that
local
makes
as it gets,
sense.
though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. Go Slugs. I've been on that campus.
Yeah. Me
Mhm.
too.
No, I love like the really local stuff, like some of like the really specific high school names. One of my friends moved up to Camas, Washington, just across the river from Portland. Their high school was
Ah, yeah.
built. Their high school was built right near the old paper mill, which is around which really the town really sprung up. So they are the Camas paper makers.
Mm. What about
Interesting.
Paul Lawrence Dunbar High School in Baltimore, the Poets?
Oh, yeah. There was a Dunbar.
You don't need to tell me anything about
Yeah.
Dunbar. My dad's a Baltimore area native. He
Yeah.
knows a bunch of guys that went there.
Yeah,
Maryland
in my
always missed
hometown
out
of
on those
Virginia, there
recruits.
was in my hometown Virginia there was also a Dunbar middle school, and they were also the Poets. And
Oh,
there
yeah.
was a high school, but it got shut down because like there was a massive asbestos problem because the building was like 80 years old.
More asbestos. More
More
asbestos.
asbestos. More asbestos.
Well, there's
Mm.
the high school in Cleveland, and I think it's the only school in the country that has that nickname, the Cleveland Glenville Tarblooders.
Whoa.
Interesting.
It's
Is
the
Not a
it's
problem
the
these days.
Ooh, that's good.
Ah, that is
Ted
good.
Ted Ted
It's like
Ginn,
Compton is
who
the Tar
played in the Ted Ted Ginn, the NFL player that played at Ohio State. His dad's been
Yeah.
the head coach at Cleveland Glenville for decades. They are arguably the best football team in the state of Ohio. They knocked us out of the final 8 of the playoffs this year, and it was basically the final 8, because it was basically a state championship game, because the next 2 weeks they beat us by 8 points, and the next 2 weeks they just absolutely obliterated the next 2 clubs that they played. So they were in our division this year, which was not fun. But they've got about 8 kids that are already signed on to go play D1 football.
And he said Ted Ginn Senior's coaching him.
Yeah,
Ted Ginn Senior, he's been the coach there for years. Yeah.
well, that
Crazy.
school used to be like a factory for Ohio State. Like
Mhm.
it wasn't even a shock at
Oh,
all.
it still is. It still
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I know it just by reputation, but I had no idea they were the same division as you guys.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's interesting because they're a Division 4. I mean, they should probably be Division 1 or 2. But
Oh,
they're
I'm sure.
people who suspect that they do something hinky in terms of like the count, because the way the divisions work in Ohio is it's based upon the number of male students you have in grades 11 or 10 through 12.
Oh, really?
And then, they basically they spread them out, and then like the top however many are in Division 1 all the way down through Division 7 in the state.
Interesting. So like sophomore, junior, senior, just because like that's the varsity normally.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's kind of the thought process
Interesting.
here. Yeah, because
Huh.
we won a state championship back in 1999 in football, and we were the biggest school in Division 4. Had we had one more male in grades 10 through 12, we would have been Division
wow.
3. And we'd had a kid that had played. He was on the team his sophomore year, but his family moved back to Arizona for his junior year, which is the year that we won state. So the fact that he left kept us Division 4. So I always wondered if anybody ever sent him a state championship shirt for leaving, because he was like me when I was in school. He was so far down on the depth chart, he needed scuba gear.
Jeez.
Anybody else here a diver like me? Speaking of scuba,
Mm.
I am.
nobody else is a diver. Okay.
Not even gonna lie, Rick. You jumped for Sean Darcy.
Yeah, no, he was
Kind of
right.
came out of nowhere.
He was right
like,
there
whoa.
staring me in the face, and I'm like, I should probably draft a ruck early because I'll probably regret it if I don't. So I'm like,
I was expecting
There we
Toby
go.
Nankervis to win what I just got. I was expecting Toby to go a little bit earlier. So I was kind of like
Well,
I was like
no
sitting
one-
here going,
yeah. Well, no
I've
one.
got a bit of a dilemma here with my second pick. I just don't know how much I want to trust like a.
Oh, damn it! I was about to say no one's got Max gone yet, and you literally just did.
well,
Oh,
literally, it's
that
like I
seemed too
drafted
obvious
Toby
that he'll rise
Nankervis. I
back
look
up
up
with
and Max
Runyon
Gone was
Ball.
gone already. I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
No, well, the second we start talking about rucks, Ben panics, and he's like, "Go on, right there."
no, he was. I had already.
Max
chosen. I'm
Gone
just
was
taking my
Max
time
Gone
here
was
with the
getting
second
up.
one.
Max Gone was the next highest ruckman after Toby Nankervis. So that's
And
not
now
a,
it's it seems like Yeah, you've really got to scroll to get the rocks. But yeah,
Well,
there's
if you don't really have to, if you want to, just
yeah, you can score
just
it.
above,
Yeah.
you can do the all positions and then just go
There we
to it.
go,
So
Bolton.
it's actually relatively that's
Right.
that's a sneaky good pick there, Ben.
Awesome. Okay.
Ben, that's a sneaky good pick there.
What,
Yeah,
Bolton that high?
Hmm.
I needed a little bit of flexibility there, and I saw that Dusty is listed as just a forward. I know he's been playing a lot of mid in training, but I just don't know how much to trust things yet. With if
at
things are going to stay the
Dusty's
same
age,
under first year Uze.
at Dusty's age, I reckon they're gonna try to play him more forward.
I think so too.
Yeah, especially with a new coaching regime in place. But either way, Bolton's a safe pick. I expect him to. Did he win? Did he win their BNF?
Yep.
He did.
Was it Bolton or Taranto?
No,
I
you're right. It was Taranto.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah,
Number
no.
151, Taranto.
Yeah, I expect Bolton to still be in form this year. He's still in his prime, but definitely shouldering more of that leadership burden at Richmond. So we'll see how he does.
Yeah, I think in terms of how much time he does have midfield, I think excuse me, I think Jacob Hopper's health is going to be tantamount there. We saw a lot of Hopper there in that match sim because they sat both Dusty and Taranto. By the way, speaking of the match sims, like the supplemental guys, I know nobody's gonna pick him up, but I love the story about the Richmond supplemental pickup right at the end, Mike Helty Lafau. Has anybody seen anything about him?
Yeah,
former
the rugby
guy,
league
yeah.
convert. He's going to count. Well, he wouldn't count it as a Category B rookie, would he? Because he's a convert from another sport.
I think
he might still.
I
It's
don't
like-
know. He was one of their VFL guys. Was from the Storm Academy.
Okay, yeah,
but
yeah.
he was on their VFL list before that. So I think I'm not sure if he counts as Cat B. It's not like
right.
it's not like the one that Collingwood just picked up, the former cricketer.
Yeah, yeah. No,
but he was a
gun.
gun footy player before he kind of went to cricket for a bit. He was just as good at footy as he is cricket. So
Trying to remember the guy's name, Will something.
yeah, it's something to that effect. Will Simpson or something to that effect. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, no, I definitely I'm curious to see how he goes.
Will Parker.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yep.
But no, like the history, like the recent history of like rugby to footy converts hasn't been great. But I like what I've heard about the kid, and it's gonna be curious to see how quickly he can make an impact. So
the difference is here. He's not like a super established rugby player,
right?
Like when the expansion teams picked up respectively, Izzy Folau
Hunt and Folau,
and Carmichael
yeah.
Hunt.
Yeah, no, well, yeah. Then this kid's, another Polynesian bloke who can, he's definitely got a good frame. I think it's just about, making sure he's, footy fit because, like,
Oh yeah,
some athletes are fit, but they're not.
He seems to be totally.
He is. Yeah, he's definitely going to be. He's a raw talent, like definition of a raw talent. But with the right coaching, he can definitely, carve himself out a role.
I hope he keeps that league physicality, though. Lowered the boom on Jake Lever in the fourth quarter of that match sim, right after he had scored a goal too.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how he goes in VFL.
Yeah,
Ooh,
the nice thing about these match sims, also,
I know.
is
I was like, Juwan just took Sam Walsh.
Well, Walsh was at the top. I'm like,
yeah, I know.
He's still in doubt for round one though.
Rossi.
The nice thing about some of these match sims.
What's his injury? Walsh.
Back issues. You still haven't. That they're worried his back issues might have flared up again.
Well, yeah, he had surgery last year, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
he had
but
the
he's been having
that they waited way too long for and cost him at the start of 2023. So I'm not sure if it's that exact thing again. There goes Davies Uniac to Craig.
Craig,
damn it.
And then Tim Kelly to Ben Markham right off the next. So
yeah,
I think right now, looking at it the way they're going down, I think Ben got to his computer. So I think right now Jimbo's the only one that's not drafting now.
God damn it!
Because looking at it,
one of the guys that means he's getting one of the guys I was really looking after.
Who was that again?
or he might be. Whoa, he did a flyer on Brody Grundy. I was wondering if somebody would take a flyer for him.
Ooh, okay. Well, he's on then. I'm wondering if maybe was Jawan not at the computer and now
No,
has
he
picked
is.
up Walsh?
He
I
is
forget.
because he no, because he picked Sam Walsh because literally Josh Jacobs hit and then Sam Walsh literally like 5 seconds later.
All
So
right, game it up then.
if he put if Jimbo put Brody Grundy towards the top, that would make sense by quickly drafted. But I mean, it's kind of
Well,
what yeah, he's drafting because he just took
Whoa!
Harley Reid. Wow, I was
Wow.
wondering if somebody'd take a flyer on Harley on how early. Wow.
Yeah, that's a little. I think that's a little
Not
too
woof.
early. But
The Eagles fan is shaking his head.
I
Not
was
woof.
wondering. I was wondering. There's a
What'd you
couple
say,
of
Ethan?
there's a couple of
I said
draft
not
picks.
woof.
Oh, right, Adam not Wolf Chera.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm interested to see. I've got a few of the draft picks that
Yeah.
I've I've got my eye on to see where the if they go. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. I think if you wanted Harley Reid, you probably could have got him a little later and
Oh
gotten
yeah.
a more
Oh
proven
yeah.
talent earlier.
You probably could have got him around 7 or 8
Yep.
without an issue.
Man, Craig,
So
you're
I
that
think it's
much
a
of a
little bit
believer
of I think it's a little
in the
bit of a stretch
co-captain?
for Harley, but who knows? So it'll be interesting. That's Brody Grundy, Harley Reid were his two picks in a row.
You know what? It's his first year in the league. Why not make some splashes?
Why not?
Has he done any AFL fantasy before? Any
Not that I
draft?
am aware. I know he's done Super Coach because when he replied to it, he asked if it was Super Coach, and I went, nope. I said it's the actually AFL fantasy because a lot of people play Super Coach. I don't mind Super Coach, but it's kind of one of those where it's just like it's unless you play a draft league in Super Coach, which I've never tried. The Super Coach regular game is just absolutely so convoluted with rules that I just don't want to deal with it. So
I've
Yeah,
done
but
it
if you're
before.
picking
It's whatever.
yeah,
I like
Yeah.
this better.
if you're picking Grundy and Harley Reid, you're kind of a poker player. You're playing for the backdoor flush draws.
yeah.
Because
Clearly.
they look real sexy when you hit them, but when you don't,
It could burn you if it doesn't go the right way. If it doesn't go the right way, I think
that's it.
Grundy's a little more of a less of a jump because of the fact that because Sydney is a little bit of a smaller ground. He doesn't have to deal with a second ruck, and he's looked good in everything that I've seen. So,
Yeah,
but
he seems
he's
like
also-
a pretty safe lineup spot
yeah.
as long as he's healthy.
Well,
Are we
he
well,
will
Pete
he
Laddams ain't challenging.
well, yeah, exactly. And with Hickey
Are we a keeper
retire, I
league
mean,
now?
Laddams is basically there as is if Grundy goes down, Laddams is the next best choice because after that it's a
Would it be
guy
a
that's only
Marty
had one
McAndrew?
AFL game that literally McAndrew, who they call him Stretch, and he's only played one AFL game, and that was last year against North because both Laddams and Hickey were both hurt.
Was
Wait,
that
he
the
played the interchange breach game?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah.
I mean, and McLean, who scored the winner in that, might end up like somewhere along that ruck ladder as well, ahead of those guys too.
Well,
could
McLean
pinch
is the
hit
back.
there.
McLean and Armati can both play the secondary ruck. They can both do it.
If they have
McLean's a tiny bit shorter than Armati, and Armati's a little more athletic. So preferably, I would prefer Armati be the backup ruck and leave McLean as the full forward with Logan McDonald taking that higher up center half forward role because um, I think McDonald is a little bit better on the run, and I think he's a little bit better. He moves a little bit better without the footy. So I would prefer McDonald being that center half forward position, preferably from what I've seen. So
Hey,
How
did
scared
Ben,
are you about losing Logan McDonald?
I'm not as worried as a lot of people think. I think that I understand that Fremantle are going to throw money at him. I understand West Coast are going to throw money at him, but he's got WA friends that are there and he's got the keys to the forward line now that I think that if Sydney can if and again, this is a huge trial match. The trial match he kicked 4 and we only played in the second half. So if that's any indication, I think he could be kind of the spearhead to the forward line. But then again, no, I think there's enough depth that it's not going to be all on him, that it'll be interesting. I think we can retain him, but we'll have to see. It's going to be very, very interesting. I'm very intrigued on how this is going to go this year.
And
because
the other thing there also is the Dockers aren't looking for like their number one forward now, are they? Because there's some guy named because there's some youngster named Jai that I think has taken that and run with it. I love how much he's filling out his frame.
Yeah.
Amos is really good. I love what I've seen from him, even though it's a fairly small sample. He's a gun.
You know who else has come on is Josh Tracy.
Yeah.
He's looking like he's starting to put it all together.
exactly.
Yeah, and Taberner, I think this is going to be Taberner's last year. I think he's going to be spending a lot of time in Peel with the Thunder because Tracy's younger, more agile, great hands, is good at ground level, and you've got Amos coming along. I've really been impressed with Tom Emmett too as a small forward. I don't think Tabs. You just can't keep him on the park the whole year. He had one great year where he was all Australian, but we've never been able to keep him on the park every year.
Hey, Ben, I got a question for you. Flynn for the Eagles, what was his deal? I didn't see him in the warm-up match the other night. So is there something up with him? I thought that he would come in and probably get a decent shot at starting with them.
Yeah, you're right about that. Matt Flynn is injured. He has, what is the exact injury here? I'm trying to pull it up. It is I think it was very early on in that
hamstring.
first. In the
It says
first
a hamstring
sim
on sportingnews.com.
yeah, hamstring was loaded that same page. So that means there's a lot of weight there on Bailey J. Williams. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. Gil, you watching right now?
Yeah, I just thought it would be cool to have it on in the background. If we're in the footy mood, yeah. So just sort of having that.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. I mean, there's no way I was going to put it on.
Well, no, it's been kind of cool for me because the Dockers had, we had our first preseason, and then hours later the Mets, we had our first preseason game. So got to watch them back to back. Yeah.
The nice thing about some of these match sims is that they have been at actually reasonable times for us Americans. Like the early morning stuff, like there were just some that have been like 10 or 11 a.m. Melbourne time. And so that equates to, right now anyway, that would be like 3 or 4 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah. I mean, the Dockers match started at 12:45 a.m., but to be perfectly honest, I mean, I have to admit age has something to do with it because I'm finding that as I'm getting older, I can't stay up all night the way that I used to. I don't know. I don't really know why that's happening. I mean, I'm very physically active, but I cannot stay up the way I used to. I've just discovered that in the last 3 or 4 years. So, I might have to be watching some replays, or at least parts of replays.
It's Rick's up right now. I see.
Yep, and he just took Nick Loston.
Yeah, no, a high percentage player. Definitely a big part of that Richmond backline. I imagine he's going to get a lot of the footy this year as usual. But yeah, it's again kind of like Shea Bolton. He's that next generation of Richmond core player that they can really build around as they're trying to get another flag with a new coach. So we'll see how long that premiership window can be open because there's still a lot of talent on that list.
Loston's like right in the middle of in terms of the age range. I mean, you got some pretty old guys there that are still kind of, well, Robbie Tarrant just retired. Dylan Grimes is probably on his last or second to last year. He's not even a co-captain anymore. And then you got the very young backs in Richmond that are starting to develop. Really good first year for Tyler Young, taking some big one-on-one assignments there. And then Sam Banks also on the young side there. We talked about him. I mentioned him in particular as kind of a sleeper pick for a big year in our first episode, which just got posted.
Oh, nice.
Jawan's got to be on auto draft because he just took Cam Guthrie.
You're right.
I put him on ignore.
Surprised he came back, to be honest. Oh,
Yeah,
who took
I think it might have went to auto draft and just went quickly through it because of the time.
That has to be the
Because
case. The case
Cam
because
Guthrie
Ben
and Luke Parker have both been
Yep.
taking 3 picks, and both are out for a bit.
Hmm.
and sandwiched
Well, that-
between that is a pretty sensible one in Jake Lloyd.
Yeah.
I like him. I like him as a player. My only worry sometimes is I think his when he racked up the points has been taken away by Nick Blakey, because Nick Blakey's really been that run out of halfback for the Swans. So I'll be interested to see how statistically, because I know he racks it up because he usually takes the kick out. So he'll get like
Yeah.
10 or 12 points just by a kick out kick.
I mean,
Taylor
when
Adams also
everybody
scored.
was on Nick Dacos for his first year, I mean, it's like Dacos and Sheasel had it to start, but very quickly they found themselves playing more in the middle, and they didn't get those kick numbers. Whereas you have somebody like Lloyd who dependably does that, and has like really worked himself into that like permanent fullback spot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm up again, aren't I? I better not screw this up here. So
Dusty Martin, Karen Briggs are the first 2 picks around 7.
We are big Briggs believers here.
Oh yeah, he's become really, really consistent really, really quickly. It's great to see. It's and you hate to pull the if he played for a Victorian club he'd get more attention, but he definitely would. But no, he's found a home at GWS. He's definitely a great pickup.
Yeah, Joe Wald's auto drafting.
He's got to be, because now he's taking Cal Mills. So
Right.
two of his midfielders are hurt. Well, the thing though is I don't know if Cal Mills is going to be out as long, because he's been at training, and he's been doing a lot more stuff just non-contact. So he may be
Would
back
this
a little
count
bit
as
earlier.
taunting Callum Mills?
No, not really.
Definitely the weirdest injury of the offseason.
Yeah, definitely.
It was
My
hardly the
favorite part
offseason.
is how the footy media were like, he should be stripped of his captaincy. What a stupid move. And the Swans go the exact opposite and make him the sole captain. I was just like chuckle. I had to chuckle at that. I really did.
Legitimately, when was the last time the Swans had a sole captain?
It's been a while, because
Yeah.
even back to their 2012 grand final, it was good. It was Goodsey and McVeigh. So
I was going to say McVeigh was captain on the day.
yeah, it was convenient. It was one of those convenient timing, because I heard an interview with that. He even said he goes, life is all about timings. He goes, I just happened to be the captain on that day. So
Like I can remember, like, from watching the replay, I could just hear Craig Willis's voice saying, "Captain for the day."
yep.
Here we go.
Gil, literally, I was looking at Amon, and all of a sudden it just goes poof. It just goes poof.
Were you looking at
That's usually the way it
Were
goes.
you also
Great.
were you looking at James before I snapped him up?
No, actually, I was not. But
Yeah.
Amon was just sitting there, and then he just was gone, just like that.
Rick, you took one of my very favorite players.
Bailey, yes. I love the element of his game that he brings. Like, he's a guy, and again, it's a situation where he's a young guy who can thrive because he has really good players around him. McCluggage,
If
Zorko.
he was still available there, I might have taken him.
Yeah. No, McCluggage, Zorko, like, they can all feed him the footy. Cam Rayner. He and Cam Rayner can play kind of similar roles, but I like Bailey as, like, the midfielder who can go forward and be the small forward and kick goals. And also, Bailey's 24. He might even be a captain in the future if he sticks around Brisbane. Also, he's a boy from the territory, from Darwin.
Right.
So yeah, and I saw some NCFL action when I lived up there, and he played for the Crocs, Southern Districts, if I'm not mistaken, up in.
You've just talked about a bucket list experience I have. I would love to go see NTFL, and I would totally love to do that. And it's my kind of weather, hot and humid up there. I would totally love it.
Oh yeah, it's good fun. Great stadium too. TIO Stadium is a great small.
I I mean, there's a reason why they have AFL games there.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Gold Coast has killed it up there. They have swept their
Surprisingly
swept
so.
their 2 Darwin
Mhm.
doubles, and Geelong's got to play there this year.
Yeah.
Oh, I realized I will not get to watch the Alice Springs game live this year. Speaking of games in other settings,
Yeah, that's a beautiful venue too. It's right in the middle of the city.
like my favorite tradition
Lee?
every year.
The sunsets are insane out there. It's a beautiful part of the world.
Lee, do you know what you just did?
I've been up there, but haven't been there for footy.
Yeah.
No, probably not.
Lee definitely just drafted Bailey Smith. Yes.
Yeah.
He
Who got Charlie Curnow? Who got Charlie Curnow?
That would be Ethan.
That was
I was gonna say, once
Ethan.
you guys were talking, I was gonna go Ethan. I think that could be a scary good pick there.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
like I needed a forward at some point.
Well, it's
Let's
like,
go with the most consistent one.
yeah,
See, and that's the thing. Like I told a lot of people in the podcast last year, I said, honestly, I think Carlton probably might not be a bad idea to move on from Harry Mackay personally.
mm,
I
can
don't
see-
think it's a bad move because if you look at it, their winning streak started when Harry Mackay left the team.
What is
Yeah.
that contract he's got now, though?
I know, but that's what I mean is like I seriously, if I was them, I would have seriously thought about moving on from him. That
Yeah,
personally.
he's got, geez, yeah, 7 more years.
Because
6
Curnow
more years
is
after this.
so much because Curnow is just so much more consistent. So actually, I want to get on this topic since you guys just brought up TO Stadium. I want to bring up who I think is going to be probably the most interesting club to all of you guys, Gold Coast. Where do you guys see them? Because they are going to be the enigma for me because I'm not sure if the list that the new coach talked about
Or what-
80% of our premiership list is already here. And I said numerous times, I said, he's full of, and if he believes that, if he honestly believes 80% of his premiership team is there, I think I want to know what drugs he's on. I really do.
yeah.
We saw Joel Smith.
Well, he did spend time in Colorado.
I mean, I lower the percentage, like give it 50 to 60, and he's probably right. I reckon Damian Hardwick immediately went up there and he read the temperature of the room. Everyone involved with Gold Coast knows that it's win now time. Like finals should have
But
already
does he have the list? I'm just again, I'm spitballing here. If he
Right,
brings
right.
what he brought at Richmond to Gold Coast, I'm not sure if it's going to work because I'm not sure Gold Coast list can do what Richmond's did personally.
And they
That's
probably
me
can't. They probably can't because, like, you know, it took them a few years to get Richmond really firing, and they're going to have to operate on a shorter time frame. But
I agree.
I mean, you know, he's still a fantastic coach. Like, I'd be shocked if he
Rick,
doesn't.
you're up, by the way, Rick. Just
Yeah.
as FYI.
I'm going through.
Okay,
through.
I just was wanting to help you there. I just didn't want you to miss it
No
there
worries.
and
No
get to
worries.
have happen what I had happen last year. I'm actually sending out an email about my new episode that just released a couple minutes ago right now. So
Nice. McGrath.
Gold Coast is very much an enigma. Their back ranks. I mean, Ballard can take strong one-on-ones. Collins can too, but outside of that, there are so many questions there.
Mm-hmm.
The flanks, there are a lot of young guys who can be there. Obviously, you got Powell and Weller who are capable, but come with some injury baggage. I'm hoping that Connor Butterick is fully healthy after his run of injuries. He can finally take a spot there. And then there's another academy graduate that's down there in defense, Bodie Euland, who is relatively untried. It's so many questions there. Ethan and I are both still surprised that that Caleb Graham saw no AFL time last year. Maybe they thought it would be a little too slow of a back rank, but in 22 we were pleasantly surprised with what Graham did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he can be sneaky good, but yeah, he did kind of disappear there for a bit. And I wasn't wild about like them originally moving Joel Jeffrey into defense more often, but yeah, given how thin they are back there, and I think that actually might work out okay. Like having someone like him who's, you know, long and athletic and can take some strong overhead marks, like that could actually pay off pretty well. So we'll see how he goes.
Well,
Not to mention you've got plenty of young forwards now coming in with
Yep.
Walter and Ethan Reed leading the pack there. Walter,
Mhm.
I know, has a collarbone injury that is
Yeah,
gonna
he'll be out.
prevent him from playing the
He'll be
first
out for a few
games.
weeks early. Yeah, and then I wouldn't be surprised if Jake Rogers, one of their other academy kids, gets a few runs, maybe at the half forward flank role, just because the midfield does have a few is a little convoluted with Rowell and Tuke Miller and Anderson and all that. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. But at least I remember in our draft thing is I think Jake Rogers might be the only one that actually plays in the first few rounds just because Jed Walters is hurt. But if Jed Walters does play, how does that affect the King brother there? Who's going to be where? Who's that center half forward? Who's going to be the full forward?
Yeah.
It is time for Ben King to return to that running half forward role that he had in 2020 and 21. When
Might not
I
be
was
a bad idea.
when I was first getting into the game, I was really kind of picking up on the King twins and noticing the differences between them. You never saw Max having to run through the center square or like the occasional center bounce attendance that Ben had those first couple years. And I'm hoping that we see Ben kind of return to that because I love seeing some extra height there the in the center square. That's why I love like having, if Reece Stanley goes up for a tap for Geelong, having Blitzovs right there too. If Collingwood if Collingwood decides to play Reef McInnes, have him at some of those center bounces. And Lee, Lee, you mentioned Tom Emmett already, right? Or was it Gil? In terms of the young Frio group. Gil, that you mentioned Tom Emmett when you were talking about young guys for Frio.
Mm-hmm.
Huge fan of him already from the couple games that I saw in him from last year. Another one of those.
He was really impressive last year.
Another one of those older, like slightly older guys. I know he battled cancer, then I think it was an Achilles injury before he got to the big time.
Mm-hmm.
Bailey Banfield used to be my guy in terms of like the small half forward group, and very quickly when I saw Emmett, I realized, okay, this guy's ahead of Banfield.
I used to like Brady Gray too when he was around. Yeah, I mean, so it's interesting now that I've actually seen them play this year. I don't know that Lockie Schultz leaving is going to hurt as much as I thought it would.
Interesting.
God, you didn't have to bring that up, did you, Gil? God, that dude was like, I'm like olive oil to his Popeye. I loved
him too.
I
mean, I totally did. I didn't like the way he kind of dissed the fan base though. In his comments talking about how he's going to the greatest fan base in the AFL. I mean, like, gee,
That's
thanks.
debatable. That's debatable.
Exactly.
I don't care. I don't care that Collingwood's the biggest fan base in the world. That does not mean they are the greatest fan base. I'm sorry.
Right.
They're just
exactly.
not. I'm sorry. When you have absolute Muppets trolling Angus Brayshaw when he retired, that really rubbed me the wrong way. I understand that there were Melbourne fans and even some people that felt aghast and called out Brandon Maynard saying he's the reason that Gus Brayshaw was retired, which isn't 100% true. But I'm sorry, there is that is classless personified for somebody to do that. And the fact that it's a willing Collingwood supporter, I lost a lot of respect for a lot of Collingwood supporters over that particular thing because I'm just like, there's a point that you just have to shut up, and way too many of them didn't. And that's what really irked me off. Like,
well, the first mistake you made was assuming the best about Collingwood supporters. So
this is true. Well, and then my other favorite is he's friends with Gus Brayshaw. Okay, if he's friends, why did he knock him out?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry if I have a friend on the field and I'm coming down, I'm not putting my shoulder into his jaw. What kind of friend is that? I'd rather have there's enemies that are worse to me than that. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, and I've had this discussion with a few people. I will listen to the other side. I will listen to you, but you will never convince me fully, that he didn't have other options. You just never will.
Fair enough.
Wait, Rick, I just saw you took a flyer on Will Brody.
I did.
He could be a sleeper pick.
He could be.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely, like started off really strongly last year. I do rate him. I do think he's one of the better ones that Frio has. But yeah, I think like again, is it going to be a situation where he kind of fades away along with the team, or is he going to be like consistently one of the best midfielders in the comp? So I like
Damn it,
him.
coach.
Yeah, I think he's got potential, but yeah, we'll see if he can really be relevant the whole season.
Damn it, coach.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, Heaney. Yeah, that was
No,
inevitable.
I'm going to tell you this right now, Ben. This
Hmm.
this guy that you just picked up may have the best, may be a sleeper, legitimately on the Swans roster. He is
I
a
don't even
he is
find
a
him to
he is
be
a
a
tackle
sleeper.
machine. I love him.
Hmm.
I was hoping he would last till later and maybe pick him up as a bench player because he racks up so many damn tackles that he could be a good points guy as it goes. So it's like, but Heaney's one of those. I picked him up. Normally, I stay away from the Swans forwards because they're just inconsistent, and the fact that when Buddy was in, sometimes the ball would a lot of the times go to Buddy, so it didn't always reciprocate through the entire group. But I'm hearing rumors that Heaney's going through the midfield a little bit more as well this year. So I think it might be one of those where, though he's named as a forward, he could be one that could get some midfield time. So kind of had to take a flyer on that one. So
I know you're high on Rowbottom, Donnie. It's hard. I was looking him up. It's hard to believe he's already at 69 career games. Nice.
Nice.
he broke last year. He broke the
Nice.
season tackle record.
Well, I was seeing that too in his stats. He averaged like 7.3 tackles per game, so
Yep.
that's pretty damn good.
Oh yeah. He was
Um,
he was one of those I think it was my second year winning the title. He was a late season pickup and surprise he racked up more points than I was ever expecting. I was sitting here going, "Are you kidding me?" He was just a random pickup and he was averaging like 85 points. I was like, "What the hell?"
oh my god, I totally forgot he's also BT's nephew. Damn it.
Yep.
Oh, who
He's
is?
BT's nephew.
I love BT, man. I don't care what anybody says. I love
I
BT.
I don't here's my thing.
Lloyd.
Entertainment wise, great guy.
He's Dick
Caller,
Vitale.
absolute
Pretty
crap.
much.
So, does anybody else?
Entertainment wise, he can entertain the heck out of you. Calling wise, he's crap because he gives us
Yeah.
too much of his opinion. It's like, dude, if you want to give your opinion, hand the mic to a caller and go back and be a color guy or go back and be a special comments guy. I don't want your opinion as a caller. I want you to call the game and shut up and let the color guys do the opinions because they're there. Half the time when BT says something that's his an opinion, 2 minutes later or a video show later shows he was wrong. And it
That was
really
out of
annoys the
bounds.
shit out of me.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious me.
It was out of
any-
bounds. Then they show the replay later. It never crossed the line fully.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah. So
Does anybody else think that
Wowee.
anybody else think that when BT goes down and goes roaming after games this year, he's going to take one of those big scales like they have at the carnivals and start weighing people since they don't do the scales, and he's going to guess
Yes.
how?
Oh
Yeah, I
my
bet you're
God.
75 kilos. Get on there, you win a prize.
I'm just waiting for him to like pick people up and say 35, like 85 kilos.
Wrong.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh my
95%
God.
helium.
Jesus.
Steve's got Ashcroft. Very nice.
He is is he auto drafting
That's
too?
an auto. That's might be a little bit of an auto draft because he may not be available for the first 3 or 4 rounds.
He's
since
been
Or
drafting.
longer.
Yeah, well, he's been drafting quicker the last few rounds, so I assume he's back
Auto.
now. But no, Ashcroft,
Interesting.
like,
Jeremy Finlayson. What's your rationale on that one? It's a little
I
bit
mean,
of a stretch.
I've got a lot of good small forwards so far. I needed a big target. I don't think he's anyone's number one guy, but like given that Charlie Dixon's, getting older, heading towards the end of his career, we've seen some good stuff from Finlayson. I think it's just a question of getting him more consistent. But that kind of applies to the power as a whole, doesn't it? So I
And
reckon.
Gil, sneaky good pick there with Charlie Cameron. Sneaky good pick there. I think he's due for
Sure.
another really
I
good
think
year
he
this
is.
year.
That's
Country
I think
roads
he's
take
due.
me home.
If
I
I
still
didn't,
love that.
if I hadn't already gotten Zach Bailey and Toby Green, I would have gotten Charlie Cameron as like my second forward pocket. So good choice.
Feel like I got to keep my mouth shut about my forward hopes because I'm not
But who you like?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta play it a little cagey until you draft them.
You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run.
Dang it. And I knew
the late
I
Kenny
meant
Rogers.
to get him
I knew
last
someone
round and
would
I totally
mention that.
forgot. Dang it. I forgot. Dang it.
I see. Yeah.
James E. Warple, I wanted to pick him up and totally forgot with my second pick. I picked Brody Smith, went, oh crap, should have grabbed a midfielder.
That's Brian Meyer's friend, James Warple.
Yeah. Let's
Lockie
see.
Weller, nice. That's
actually not a bad pick.
Yeah,
if he stays healthy, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's not a flashy player, but he's
No.
always good for 20 touches, maybe 25. He's solid.
At least on my draft board, Lee and Gill's favorite ex Fremantle Docker is on my draft board now.
Donnie, no, I do not want, no. He whose name shall not be mentioned.
That's why I didn't say his name.
Uh,
I just looked down. I was just going through who is there, and I was like, oh, that's an interesting one.
Well, you were talking about, guys who was like, if he was on a Victorian team, people would pay attention to him, and there he goes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hey, Jimbo's ears must have been burning, I guess.
Jimbo supports whom again?
Collingwood. Which is really funny because he grabbed Brody Grundy and Taylor Adams, who were former Collingwood Magpies.
And now he grabs Schultz.
Yep.
I wanted to look at his list just to see who he's picked up. I got to see this. Who's he picked? So he has Kitty Coleman, Cal Wilkie, Cornelio Rosie, Harley Reid, Tim English, Taylor Adams, Dusty Martin, Lockie Schultz, Joe Danaher, and Brody Grundy.
That is an interesting list.
Especially considering right now he's got Tim English as his ruck and Brody Grundy's on his interchange.
You see, that's why for my second ruck I made sure to grab. I grabbed like one of the few like dual rucks, which was Blitzos, because Jackson had already been taken.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, this seems like the time where people are going to start going after those tall targets.
That'd be interesting.
And is Ross? You said he's
on.
This live?
He said his first pick he auto-grafted because he got home late, but he texted me because I texted him, "Are you on the computer?" He put just hopped in, was out and got home late, barely missed my pick. So he's on. So
Juwan picked up Ollie Wines.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's interesting with the auto draft. I'm interested with the auto draft is how quickly does it start grabbing people that are not if the position fills, because almost what it'll do is it'll grab midfielders until the midfield 5, and then it'll grab 4 midfielders as an interchange before it'll fill anything else in. So it's kind of an interesting little thing.
I think it just takes best available.
Yeah, but the issue is that once you run out of empty spots, you can't fit. Then it has to grab best available at a different position, because you can't put midfielders as forwards unless it says forward. So
Ethan, if you're going to do the thing, it's going to have to be soon.
I hope you know what he's talking about.
You think he doesn't?
I hope so.
Ethan has to know.
I know.
Well, thanks for cluing us all in.
There goes another big target there.
Yeah.
Gil taking a WA kid.
Yep.
How many times have Frio people talked about Aaron Naughton
Too many.
as like the one that's got away? But
I
But
can see the disappointment on Donnie's face.
Yeah, but you can't.
I
knew I would piss you off
legitimately,
on that
just like
one.
with James E. Rowbottom, that I as a Swan supporter, that's a sneaky. I think that could be a sneaky good pick. My only issue is sometimes there are games that he disappears in. That's my only worry sometimes with him. But again, he could.
I feel like that's most of the Swans' backline. They sometimes disappear at
Well,
the worst time.
it depends on the game. Like there's some
Yeah.
games that they get a ton of they get stuck in their own back line. It's just like I said, it just depends on who they play.
Right.
Oh boy.
You know who's a hell of a player is James E. Rowbottom's sister, Charlie.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's still Swan supporters that wanted us to try to lure her away from Gold Coast, but she's way too entrenched there.
Yep.
It's a shame. I think she was hurt for their final.
She was.
She was.
But I don't think it would have mattered the way the Swans played that game. Their pressure was insane in that game.
You're on, coach.
What a year the Swans.
I know. I'm just trying to decide what I want to do here. I've still got 40 seconds. I still got some time.
I'll tell you what, I'm looking at my forward line and thinking that it pretty much stinks on ice.
Interesting, coach.
Impy. Wow. Okay.
Bing.
Nice.
Interesting.
Bingo.
Lee, I have to admit, I was very interested in Hayden Young before you snapped him up.
Oh yeah, who did get Young? Sorry.
that was me.
Oh, yeah. He could have a good season.
What a
I
kick he had.
trust him.
Well, it's finally wise to move him to the midfield. I mean, he could lead the league in inside 50s.
I love his kick. Very
beautiful kick.
Taking a bit of a flyer. Taking a bit of a flyer here on some forwards, but Hawkins ruck tasks I think are still going to happen, even with Geelong having some new blood in there. I mean, we'll see how much. I forget if I don't think Reece Stanley's been taken yet. But we'll see how much time he has compared to Toby Conway, because I think within the year you could see Conway taking over that top ruck spot.
I am the Toby Conway believer.
Yep.
Sold after one game.
Yeah, no, he's the future for sure. You know, like everyone knows the Radu Galea experiment didn't go the way everyone thought it would at Rock, but Conway I think is definitely a great fit there. You know, he's physical enough, he's smart. It's just a question of developing it, really.
Well, and I don't know if when Shannon Neal slots in there with them, but he looks like, as my wife likes to call our son, a grown ass man. When you make your decisions, you're a grown ass man now. So he's I have no idea whether he'll get much playing time at all this year. I mean, I kind of hope he doesn't, because that means that bad things have happened if he's playing a lot of games.
I mean, Neil can overhead mark for days. It was nice to see him hit a couple good ones in the Sims thus far.
I honestly thought about taking that flyer on Jade Gresham, but I just didn't have. I didn't have.
All right, I'll do it.
Had him too.
Yeah, his injury.
Hey!
I was not. How come I'm not surprised that Geelong guy grabs Myers?
That was the thing.
Brian Myers. There it is.
That was the thing. The Cat's namesake.
Ooh, Richards was actually my other choice. I was debating between him and Richards.
Really?
And Richards goes the very next pick.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I am. Yeah, if Richards.
I'll never forget Ed Richards, because in Frio's last finals win, it was Michael Frederick who ran him down.
That's right.
Yep.
I think we're going to see Freddie hit another backflip or two this year.
Oh, hell yeah.
Probably. I am very high on Kyle Langford. I always thought he was underrated, especially just like, I mean, he can kind of he's another guy who can kind of play a handful of different positions, but he had a really solid season for the Bombers last year, and year two under Brad Scott, like I think he could really hit his stride again. Himmelberg, good one, Gil.
Yep.
I was gonna say
like-
that's another sneaky good one.
Short-time New York resident Harry Himmelberg.
Very true.
Whatever happened, by the way, to Michael Frederick's twin brother? What happened to Martin?
He's moved west. He's going to play in the Waffle.
Yep.
Yeah,
he was playing with Sturt last year in the Stanfield.
He was. Yeah, after
he decided he left Sturt and decided to go out. Who did he join in the Waffle? I can't even remember.
I forget. I really don't remember. Let me look it up. Let me just see here.
I could probably look it up. I'll join you in that look.
Yeah.
Claremont.
Yep. Tiger.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great pickup at Claremont, because Claremont last year had a knack for playing in close games. They had 5 games last year where they came back in the fourth quarter to win games. So
where did they finish on the Waffle ladder?
They finished 5th, and lost in the first round of the finals. But I had them going to the almost to the prelim, because they were a team that they won a lot of games close. Swan Districts did the opposite. They got in a lot of close games and lost them. Claremont got in a lot of close games and won them. So, but I'm honestly in the Waffle this year. I think East Perth could be the team to keep an eye out, the Royals, because they have the oldest Brayshaw won the Sandover medal last year.
Hamish.
And absolutely had an incredible year. And East Perth pretty much retained most of their team, so they're going to be really good. I think they're the team in the Waffle to keep an eye on, and Glenelg is probably the best team in the Sandville this year, so it'll be fun. Ooh, Bradley Hill. I was wondering if he'd get snatched up.
Yeah, he's a duel still.
Yeah, I know. I was wondering if he'd get snatched up earlier, if people would find him, and so
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I did that. Yeah, I've got. I mean, my forward line is Zorko, Ben Keys, and Bradley Hill. Not exactly awe-inspiring, but
my worry is how much is Zorko going to play this year? That's my worry.
Yeah.
That's the only. I thought about getting him in like a couple of rounds ago, but I'm like, I'm not sure how much Zorko's going to play, because
about that too. Yeah.
So that's my worry. That would be my only worry with him, is that.
Yeah.
That's your big draft board behind you, Gil?
You know what? I should use it. That's actually my classroom board, and I've got to update it for tomorrow. But what do I have up there? Yeah, my creative writing class.
Okay. And remind me again, what is the institution at which you're teaching?
I am at Besant Hill School of Happy Valley, which is a boarding school. I would be totally lying if I said that one of the excellent benefits is being a California resident and not paying rent, and not paying much for food. And I mean, my biggest expenses basically are, I don't pay for internet either, since we've got the network, but my biggest expenses are gas and what else? Gas, TV, and that's about it.
Wow.
So
Wow.
Whereabouts is that?
He's grabbed Jimbo's grabbed the number 1 and number 2 picks overall from this year's draft. He just grabbed Colby McKercher.
Yeah.
So Gil,
Yeah.
can I ask a question? Do you plan on going as Paul Giamatti at Halloween next year?
You know what? I need to see that movie.
It's outstanding. It's awesome.
Well, I'll tell you
It's
what,
awesome.
this is the second boarding school where I've worked. Last year, I was at a school in Los Olivos, and my wife worked there too. And we both got laid off. They recruited us big time, only to tell us 7 months later, oh, by the way, we lost $4 million. And you know how it is. Last one in the door is the first one out the door.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it totally sucks. But where I am now is in Ojai, California, which
Okay,
is
yeah,
about 80
Beautiful
miles.
area.
It is.
yeah.
It's west northwest of LA.
Yep. I've driven through there a couple of times.
Yeah, yeah. Ojai is awesome.
I know the taxidermy industry there is pretty strong.
It would. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
I
by
love
the
that
way,
you know that.
It's a
our
Chuck
high
Testa
school nickname were the
reference.
Coyotes.
Oh my gosh, yes. Nope. It's Chuck Testa. That is, what is that, like mid 2000s internet?
Huh, probably.
Mid 2000s.
Here we go. Here we go. Jamie Elliott, boys.
Wow, Gil. Gil
Jamie
Yeah,
takes
Elliott,
Brandon,
former
Brandon
Giants
Maynard and
prospect.
Jamie Elliott in two
Somebody
consecutive
has got to
picks.
take the controversial Collingwood player. So I got to go. So why not get Maynard too?
Maynard is amazing at like every way off the field, it seems. And then just
Who?
an absolute dick on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
sad part is he's right.
yeah. Totally.
Well, you got to have some mongrel. You got to have some mongrel on your team.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I was like quick to pick up Robot and Nash for my midfield.
Nash, I had my eye on him. He's quietly developed into a really good player. Like I'd say, apart
And
from
there's a reason.
yeah, apart from Zach Toohey, I think Nash is probably the best Irish player right now.
And there's a reason why I didn't mention him earlier when I was talking about taller mids, because I like was like had him start. I was just like, I don't want to mention him in case somebody else
He's surprisingly
gets
tall.
ideas.
Yeah, like he's a tall midfielder for sure. And yeah, he's definitely emerged as like Hawks are a young side. They're still gonna be a young side. Like he's been good.
Yeah, he's what is he? He's 198. That's 6'6".
Yeah, he is a big unit, and like I love that because like in Gaelic football, it's not full contact as we know, and like how can you not put a 6'6" frame to good use in a full contact sport? So, and he's in his prime,
Caldwell.
and he's in his prime. He's 25. Nash has done a really solid job, and I think he actually played rugby as well as Gaelic, so his body is well developed. Oh, Finn Callahan. There we go.
I have this feeling he's gonna have a year this year. I just don't know. I don't know why. I just have a feeling he might have a year this year.
I think the early indicators are really strong on him. Like I love what I've seen from him. I think it's just a question of, breaking down that door and consistently getting senior matches. The more senior footy you get, the better, obviously. And he's hungry to get more. So
Ben, I was hoping I could slip him in a little bit later.
No way. He was one of my most important players last year.
Yeah,
I brought back a couple of my players from last year. I think the only two that I have managed to retain. Nice pickup with Hogan. I was looking at him for another tall, but I think the two that I managed to retain thus far are Liam Baker and the wing god that Frio needed last year, Blake Akers.
Well, if it weren't for the turnover, you can actually do a retain league, and then the only thing I think you can retain like 5 or 6 year players from the previous year, and then everybody goes back into the draft thing. But I'm like, I don't like the keeper league because it's one of those where it's like if you have a team of like if you have a team like it could keep the same teams winning all the time. So I kind of like the new draft because it throws things kind of back to even as much as possible. Plus, as I've done the last couple of years, I have Premiership team, runner up, the top 4 or the bottom 4 picks to kind of hopefully even the league out. So doesn't always work that way.
Have we determined that Juwan is auto drafting? Have we determined that Juwan is auto drafting?
I think so.
Okay, because he has drafted 12 midfielders.
Yep.
You never have too many good ones.
Well, that's like if it does auto draft, does it actually fill up the spots and then stop it to where the computer would go in and just grab the next best forward?
I think it just feels like best available now. It's going to go. He has 1 defender and 12 midfielders. That's what he has. Right now.
He's using the taco strategy, except Taco does it with kickers.
Pretty much.
He's picked. Like I said, he's picked the top 2 draft picks. He's Harley and Reed and Colby McCurchy are both 2 of his picks. I'm like,
Rick, this seems like a reference you would appreciate. You seem like a league watcher.
Who, me?
Rick, you definitely watched the league, right?
Sorry? Yeah,
You watched the league.
yeah, I've seen it. That's
You.
Oh,
That
yeah.
show's like made for you.
Man, why do
It's a
I
fun.
find it really funny as the Swans fan. I keep seeing these guys get picked up, and I'm like, he could be another good one. Ollie
I'm
Florence, another
surprised
good one.
Florence was still available this deep.
He's not a huge points person because he's been playing a lot in the halfback line, and as I said, Nick Blakey and Jake Lloyd are the distributing backliners. So it's kind of one of those. It's kind of one of those where sometimes he doesn't always get a lot of the disposal because sometimes he plays a little bit more of the defensive role. So,
Hmm.
but he can go through the midfield.
No question.
That one right there, Gil, could be a steal.
I think so too.
If there's still the issue with the
They have
the
Draper.
original, I think Goldstein may get a lot of time on field this year.
That's why I picked him. Yep.
How the hell did no one else get Travis Boak? Like, I was surprised.
Bokey's not
Sometime
going to
as
play
the-
much this year. If I'm being
Sometime as the
honest
sub
with you.
last year, getting near the end of things.
Yeah,
He's not, like,
way too many times being a sub. I worry he's only going to play 5. He's going to be that sub guy that only gets in for 3 or 4 games. That's my worry with him. Oh, hey, and before we get to the end of the draft, just to let everybody know, I did set the trades to you don't have to get any approval. It's basically if you two agree, it goes through. There's no approval on it. So if there's any trades that you're thinking about, if you need contact information for anybody, like I said, just let each other know. But I set the trading to it. Hey, if you guys agree, it's good.
Yeah,
So
Juwan approves of that.
I will probably I bet a few people probably reaching out because he's probably got a few midfielders that
Okay,
he probably want to move.
He just added
and-
another. He has 13 midfielders now.
Oh
He has
my God.
13 midfielders.
Yeah, thank God, Coach, that you're not. I was gonna say, like, if the commissioner has to approve trades, like I thought you were gonna
I could have done commissioner.
veto the Chris Paul
I
trade.
could have done commissioner, but then
Collusion.
well, the original one is that everybody has to like at least 3 people from the league have to go in and approve it. And the problem is then you have to let everybody know, like, hey, go into your thing and approve this trade. It's so annoying. So, like I said, this year I set it at if you two agree, like if you send a trade, like, hey, I want to trade this person for this person. If you two agree on it, it's good to go. I thought it's one less headache to have to worry about.
Fair enough.
So, because then my other thought, I was thinking about reaching out to you guys and go, how would you guys like to have some fun and have like a trade like halfway through the year and have like a trade day where we all get together and just talk trades. I don't know how much that would work though. So,
Ooh, Craig, filling out your second ruck there with Bailey J.
Yep.
I like it again with Oh yeah, Pesty got Ben, not Benjamin, got Willem Drew, big fan. And yeah, Bailey J. As I said earlier when you were asking Lee, with Matt Flynn out to start the year, Bailey J. is the guy in the ruck, unless you're going to get like Jack Williams and Harry Barnett would have like pinch hit rules if that.
Yeah. Because I've been watching Flynn. I forget where he was playing previously, but he seemed like he was always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And he always played well when he got his opportunities, but it just never seemed to work out that he was the primary ruckman. And when he did, he did a good job. And I thought that if he ever got a full-time job, and God knows he's in a place where he certainly could take one now. But I saw that he wasn't playing in the warm-up match, so it concerned me.
The first 9 rounds of last year, correct me if I'm wrong, Rick, Flynn was the first-rate ruck for the Giants, and then that kind of stalled out, and that was when Kieran Briggs got the chance.
And it was around that time of the season, and by the time we were making that surprise finals berth, it was pretty clear that Briggs.
Damn it, Ethan! I was hoping I could slip him later.
Was debating between him and one other forward.
I think I know which forward it was, Ethan.
Oh yeah. Rankin. There we go. Yeah, he's
messaged me privately to see if you were right on which forward.
Do we? Here we go. Speaking of ranking, do we think the Crows can make the 8 again?
I think so.
Finally,
I
yeah.
think
I mean,
so. If last
yeah.
year, if they improve like they have been under Matty Nix, I will be shocked, just because of the fact that going for if they can just get a decent defensive ability to be able to play decent defense, offensively they are scary with some of the guys that they have. But that's going to be the $1 million
Someone
question.
from outside of the 8 gets into the top 4 each year, and the most likely ones are either them or the Cats.
Yeah, true enough.
Ooh, Rory Sloan, that's an interesting pick.
Yeah, he's got I know he's got like a retinal issue or something that might put the very start of his season in jeopardy.
That's what I heard. Yeah, it's yeah, weird injury, but yeah, I hope he can get 100% soon.
Maybe we'll see him
Mitch
rock the
Owens.
goggles.
I like
Yep,
Mitch
there
Owens
it
a
is.
lot. He
That was
is,
my other choice. It was like,
yeah,
do I
he's
like
definitely
do I
he's
go with the
definitely-
small forward and have 2 Crows, or do I
I had
take yet
him
another big forward?
I had him last year, and I almost traded him, and then he exploded towards the end of the year because
He got a
you could,
Rising Star nomination already, right?
yep.
Yeah, he's I like watching him. At first, I thought he needed to hit the weights, but he's put on some good muscle, and he's again a guy who can maybe push onto the wing, but ideally a small forward. And I think St. Kilda is pretty creative at getting him the footy. Like you said, he got hot at the right time.
Yep.
Wait, did
But I
somebody-
almost traded him to
Can't blame you. He
to
was
I almost traded him to the Don there for a bit for a defender, because I was like he was desperate for forwards, and I had a few extra defenders that I needed. And we almost traded Mitch. I can't even remember who it was for. It was Mitch Owens for somebody. And I put it up. I said, "What do you think of this trade?" And he thought about it, but then he looked at Mitch Owens' average at that time was like 2 or 3 points below, and he didn't think it was much of an addition. So he didn't make the trade. And I was like, later on, I was probably smart to keep him in the long run just because of the way it went. So it turned my way a little bit more, surprisingly better than I thought it would. So
This is the time in the draft where you start thinking like whether or not you have too many guys from one team.
that's the other thing too. It's like I basically look at it. I said you could pick one player from all 18 teams and then have 3 or 4 doubles.
Well, this
Yeah.
is also where you look at Jawan's list and figure out which midfielder you want and who can you take. It's a late pickup as a defender and a forward that you can turn around and flip over to him to get a better midfielder for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, yeah, I actually haven't really been thinking about that at all. It took me until round 15 to finally pick up an Eagle.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I'm surprised. I mean, I think Markey already went off the board. I was waiting to see when somebody else would pick up Allen, and I'm glad he fell to me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I had.
Same.
I'm trying to think if I had any Eagles last year. I might have had. I forget if I had Tim Kelly for a bit. Who picked up Mr. Glassbones and Paper Skin? Elliot Yo.
Yeah, someone got him a few rounds ago. I forgot who it was.
It was one of the Frio people, and I forget what.
Lee.
No, it wasn't me.
That would be Lee.
Yep. And I'm about to do it again. This is you'll just hit me now.
Oh, there he
Hey,
is.
I have one of his.
I almost picked him up, but when I picked up Mitch Owens, I realized I had 2 St. Kilda, and I didn't want to draft more than 2 guys from one team.
I
I almost picked him up instead of going for Isaac Cumming.
No, I was saying I bought one of Liam Henry's tiles with the Aboriginal dot painting design.
Nice.
I've worn it to a few functions. Absolutely.
Great pickup, Rick.
All right,
Yeah. No, I expect Neil Bolland to have a really good year. Like I was dumb enough to pick the D's to win the flag last year. I'm not making that mistake again, but Neil Bolland is
He's gonna need to with the guy that's out with the potential Asada issues. They're gonna need him to step up big time. And unfortunately, from what I'm hearing in the preseason, their forward line, the bugger all and absolutely shit forward line is continuing again this year, at least in the preseason. So I'm a little worried about.
Also, right away, Kazi's going to be out round 1, so instantly
Yeah.
opportunities for
Well,
Neil
I
Bowen
am-
to pick up a couple. Kate Chandler as well.
What
I
was
am-
wrong with Ozzy?
Suspension from the final.
Right.
The
Yep.
bump on might have been on Patty Cripps.
The first 2 games or just the opener?
I
think
forget
it's
if it's
round
1 or
1.
2, but regardless.
Yeah. No,
Nick Larkey, he picked up
Ooh.
Taco pick up Nick Larkey, and that again.
I thought he was already gone, but now
I did
I feel
too.
Yeah.
yeah. But I
Wow.
realized right now I think I have 3 Giants, and if there's any team that I'd be glad to take 3 of, it would be them.
Mm.
Because I've got Tom Green, I think, was my top pick, and then I got Binga Daniels and Cumming.
And then I'm double checking. I believe the league does not start until regular round 1, not round 0. I will have to double check that once it's done. But I am pretty sure that round 0
does. I just
So.
checked.
Hmm.
Supercoach doesn't count opening round.
Okay.
I haven't checked the match center to see that yet because I don't want to pull off the draft. I don't want to pull off the draft thing, but I thought I saw where round 1 is when the actual league starts.
You know
I'm
what
trying
would
to figure out
honestly
whether
make
Kazi's
sense?
suspension is. So Kazi's suspension is just 1 game. So actually, never mind then.
Okay.
But
You know what would
but yeah,
make
I still really like the Neil Bowen pickup. Man, Taos has taken some flyers on first years there. Just took Dan Curtin.
Yeah.
It would make sense for those scores to get plugged into like the rounds where teams have that extra bye instead. Scores from opening round.
I doubt they'll do that.
I don't think
sense.
so. It would
be
they
convoluted, but it would make
have to
sense.
have the system to be able to do that. Yeah, he has taken some flyers on. That's the 8th pick overall.
So he's got
he got
1, 2, and 8, right?
Harley McCurcha and Daniel Curtin, so he's got 3 of the top 8 picks.
Yeah.
Anybody pick up? Let's see. Has anybody picked up Zane Dursma yet?
Nope.
No.
Or his brother.
Right, Xavier now.
Whoa! Yep, he is definitely on auto grab.
I saw
Juwan
that.
just grabbed Terran Thomas. He is definitely on auto grab. He just grabbed Terran Thomas, and Terran Thomas just got let go by. Ooh, Horn Francis. I think he could be a sneaky good pick this year.
And I was surprised he was still available.
I'm not surprised because
is he pure mid
he
this
was
year?
so inconsistent last year. I had him a couple of times. I think I dropped him 3 times.
Terran Thomas got let go by the league.
Yeah, well, I mean,
is
the
Jason
league only
Horne-Francis-
suspended him 18 games.
Yeah, I know, but they basically
Only
said,
18.
But then North
don't
basically
call
was
us,
like,
we'll
"Yeah, we're
call
not
you."
dealing with this." Bye. So
Yeah.
Is Horn Francis a pure mid or a mid forward
yeah,
now?
he's a mid.
They're playing him as a pure mid at Port. Yeah.
Yeah. I am so disappointed, by the way, that Port and North only play in Tasmania this year. We're still waiting for him to play North in Victoria.
That's ironic.
Well, still waiting on the Mackay brothers to be in the same room also.
And we still haven't gotten the King Bowl.
No, I think we had.
Neither of them
I've gotten the King Bowl.
Neither of them have been healthy at the same time, right? Because Max, they both missed like almost a full season. I don't think Gold Coast is saying. I could be wrong, but I don't think we've ever gotten the King Bowl.
Huh? I forget. Well, we certainly haven't gotten a Mackay Bowl,
right?
Because there is only one Mackay.
Yeah, exactly. Jack Ross, that is sneaky good, Donnie.
Yeah, the problem is as soon as I clicked, I'm like, crap, I have 3 Richmond players.
Well, I mean, he's like a good interchange player, even if he's not. Yeah, like he's a good rotational guy.
And Donnie, you'll have dropped and picked up 3 or 4 different guys by then, so
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Once we get to the start getting to the bye rounds, you'll have enough shuffle in there. You'll be fine.
Oh yeah, I know. It's just I try not to at the start just because it's far less headaches, but it is kind of like I'm like Like I look down and I'm like, oh man, I forgot I already have Nank and Tim Taranto already.
Well, there's going to be a few midfielders available here soon.
Until Juwan takes all of them.
Yeah, well, he'll have to dump
I
some
may
of
be
them.
having a conversation with him.
I mean, yeah, it's maybe in year 3 we can finally have everyone, not have any drafting issues.
Only have a draft issue because guys that auto grabbed have nothing but midfielders.
Exactly. Maybe next year we'll all.
Hey, Ben, I like the Zach Guthrie pick. I mean, it's been fun watching him grow up in front of our eyes.
I'm telling you guys right now, my next pick is, if as long as Ben doesn't grab it, my next pick is going to be a major flyer.
I'm just trying.
Come on,
I'm just
Ben.
trying to
Come
figure
on,
out
Ben.
where my last forward spot's going right now. I know.
I don't think I'm any worry of him grabbing him because this is a major flyer. This is only because of a few podcasts I've listened to that I'm gonna take this flyer. I don't even care. Because the problem is my other flyers that I had set up on my board, frickin' Taco took all of them. Harley Reid, Colby McCurcha, and Dan Curtin. I had all 3 at the top of my board because I didn't want them, and this is my 4th one.
Oh, Ray Shelley. Nice
Nope.
one, Ben.
Called it.
I hear this guy's name being talked about in every Doggies podcast that I've heard. That this guy is absolutely insane.
The only 2 first years that I was even considering were Colby McKercher and Riley Sanders, and Sanders only because Baslenka's out.
Yeah.
Because that just feels like a natural spot for him, but a bit of an outside spot for.
Well, there's one other one that I'm gonna look forward to that I may take another flyer on him too.
We are getting down to it here now.
Yeah, now it's the depth players.
Yeah, I actually like unintentionally, intentionally filled out like a perfect 18.
Yeah, I've got
every spot filled.
I'm close. I'm like a midfielder and 3 bench players.
I've got all 18. All I have is my interchange.
Yeah, I'm with you. But yeah, Sanders, just when Bailey Smith went down, just the first thing that came into my mind was Riley Sanders.
Well, I'll tell you this. My next pick is the other hot youngster that I've heard a lot of. I'm gonna take the flyer there if nobody's picked him up. Surprisingly, Craig, I think that may be another good pick. I think he's in for potentially a good year this year.
If he's healthy.
If he stays healthy,
ambulatory.
Well, that's a huge that's a huge caveat there.
I love Zach Williams, but my God, that dude cannot catch an injury break.
And they had to pay a premium to get him.
Yeah, like him and
he is man, Taco is going for some big ones. He grabbed Guinea.
Wow.
I hope Chanquoth Jaff doesn't end up the same way with just like absolutely no injury luck whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's such a fun player to watch. He definitely needs better injury luck.
And we actually briefly spoke to him, just kind of messaged with him, just seeing if timing would work for us to meet up in San Francisco, because he and a few of his teammates were over here right around Halloween, but unfortunately things didn't work out. CJ's brother, by the way, got drafted by Collingwood.
I saw that. Wasn't he part of their Next Generation Academy?
He may have been, yeah. I think Tal was. There are like a couple, second round defensive pickups there that are really in CJ's mold, because there's obviously his brother, but there's also the guy that they had a little 2-part series on that Essendon picked up, Lamont Lual.
Oh yeah.
They had like the Smoky, where he ended up going pick 39, so like just within the range where it wasn't protected by Next Generation Academy restrictions.
That's actually really smart. I never thought Essendon could make smart draft decisions.
Dodoro wins one battle on his way out. Dodoro wins one battle and says, "All right, hang that on my resume. I'm out."
Pretty much.
Gotta be quick.
Ah, Brune. There we go.
Yeah, no, I have him as interchange for now, but he could easily slot into the midfield. If he's regular starting 22 every week, he's in. I love him.
And he very likely will be. He very likely will be.
I really wish the Giants had the cap space to hang on to him, but he's a gun.
Man, yeah, the dual position spots are really slim this year.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got back just in time. Okay. Let's see, Ben. Have you seen this name pop out a bit?
Aye.
He was Nate Caddy. What draft pick was he?
10 to Essendon.
Yep.
Right. I remember the name.
Speaking of Essendon.
Yep.
He's a wild card.
Yep, I like that one.
Yeah, and another duel, which I love. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I've got 5 dual position guys in there now.
Get your other pick. Stop counting. Just kidding.
I'm wavering between a few here.
Well, don't waver too much. You only have 50 seconds.
It says I have a minute 20 on my phone.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's picking back to back, but minute 20.
Well, is on the clock, and then it gives you like a 30 second. It gives you like a 30-second.
Juwan's up to 16 midfielders now, but he does have 3. He does have 3 defenders.
Yep, you did. You took the one I was looking at. Good pick.
Mitch McGovern.
You were looking at Mitch McGovern.
I was thinking about him as well,
I was looking at him.
Yeah. Do you think he's gonna retire, McGovern?
Well, are you talking Mitch or Jeremy? Jeremy, yes.
Jeremy, yes. Mitch, no.
But Mitch, I mean, he's got a pretty decent injury history, but I don't know, maybe. Johannesson, okay.
I have a feeling with Bailey going out, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets some wings time.
He was really good for me last year until he pulled his hamstring.
Yep.
Yeah, right, like just before the midpoint of the season, he did his hammy.
Yeah. It's tough because he's on the wrong side of 30, and when he's healthy, he's great, but he's definitely at that patch of his career.
Yeah.
Great kick though. I like having him and Caleb Daniel at the halfback flanks if they're there and if they're on. That's it's just the rest of the Bulldogs is never.
The doggies are a team that it's one of those. If they can kick well, they could be incredibly dangerous. The issue is that sometimes, for some weird reason, after about 5 or 6 guys, then their kicking becomes atrocious.
Well, I think last year really exposed that they weren't nearly as deep as they thought they were. And
exactly.
That was a huge thing for them. Here is a guy that I rate pretty highly.
Chris Collinsworth? No, here's a guy.
No, I do like Hunter Clark. Hunter Clark is a solid player for St. Kilda. Again, he's not flashy.
He's a damaged goods guy, though.
Can he stay healthy?
I think he will this year. He did okay last year. So Butterick. Oh, it's a shame that it's auto draft, but yeah, you were just mentioning.
He is my sleeper for the Suns.
Yeah, exactly. No, he's solid. I think he's.
There goes Stephen May.
Well, I was deciding.
He's not a big scorer because he's not.
I was going between May and Iden, and I went with Iden.
Iden would be my pick too, because May is just. May's a big name, but he's not going to rack up a lot of points because he's not a big. He's great with spoils, but spoils are only a point apiece. So that's the issue you run into there. And he's not a big. He's not an intercept mark. He's not an intercept marking type of guy, which is interesting that Jimbo takes Darcy Moore, which is another one. It's a big name.
You guys did not read the fine print this year in the AFL fantasy. There is there is a 100-point bonus for players who punch teammates at restaurants. Okay, that's why I took him.
Is there a bonus for wrestling injuries too for Callum Mills? That might be
Well,
only
then
50.
Juwan would look really good because of that.
All right, Jimbo, surprise us.
Ethan, who was it for the for Jalog that showed up as the goalpost?
For Mad Monday?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Wasn't it Guthrie?
I forget, but like somebody showed up as the goalpost. I think somebody borrowed
Because Billy Brownless played the goal umpire, the former.
I think Dangerfield used his old Crow's jumper, and I forget if he gave it to someone or if he was the kick himself. Was it Isaac Smith involved with that?
Might have
I
been.
can't remember. I think
Cats did Mad
he
Monday
gave
this
it to
year.
Isaac Smith because I think Isaac Smith
Every
was
year
key.
we win Mad Monday.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that. The last 2 years, the best Mad Monday situation has been the Geelong Cats. I mean, you win the
I'd rather it be
premiership,
later
you
this
win the
coming year.
premiership, and then you pretend you're driving your guys to an old folks home, which I literally taking the piss out of the media. I absolutely loved that. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And then I was trying to remember. I was disappointed in Collingwood this year because what was it? Darcy Moore, I think, went with Legolas when Ethan and I had been saying for literally 2 years straight, Darcy Moore is Lucius Malfoy.
I guess. Either works.
I know a bunch who did like the Peaky Blinders thing as well.
I got only 2 picks left and 3 guys I want. So if one of them gets taken, that'll make my job easier.
Don't hold your breath.
One of them's kind of a homer pick.
Well, that means Geelong.
And I think he's pretty far off the board for a lot of people. So it's really about the other 2.
Don't tell me you're taking Conway, Ethan.
No, I already have 2 rucks.
Be careful with Wiedering because I think he's out for at least the first couple of rounds.
He is.
Thank you. That made my decision easier.
And Cox, we don't know Cox's timetable either.
Yeah.
And he just got picked up by Khalil.
Yeah.
Brennan Cox, that is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And who did I?
Wiedering was one of the 3. That made my decision easier. Thank you.
Always happy to help.
I'm shocked Sam Draper slipped this low, to be honest.
There's still his groin injury. They're still not even sure if he's even going to come back. That's the reason why I said the Goldstein pick may be spectacular because Draper's groin injury, they still have not even been confirmed whether he can come back. And the other guy retired. Their other ruck that played a lot last year after Draper went down retired.
Andrew Phillips.
Yeah, Phillips. So that's why I'm saying Goldstein
Yeah.
could be a magical pick because he's probably going to be the number 1 ruck for at least the first 8 rounds.
And he's probably going to retire at the end of the year because he's 36.
Probably. But Draper, I mean, literally Draper. I mean,
I just saw he just returned to training last week, actually. So, yeah.
OMG, my last 2 picks, I might have actually pulled.
I
can't believe that was still there.
Damn it!
I was very close to getting Wardlaw, but
I had to just because I think he's one of those.
I'm not gonna respect myself if I have more than 1 North player on my list. I'm sorry.
But they have so much young talent and they've got some guys that are gonna put up points. Like that's the thing. Like there's West Coast Eagles. Dom Sheed one time got me a lot of points last year, even though it was disgusting to have a West Coast Eagles person on my. No offense, Ben. I'm not trying to. Is no personal shot at you.
Taken.
But
Dom Sheed, you put 205 up on us.
Dom Sheed last year put up a ton of points for me in my midfield. I'm like, you would almost think it's disrespectful to have a West Coast Eagle on your team because they were playing so badly last year. But he was one of the few guys that was like, okay, he put up some points for me. So I was like, when I saw him on my thing, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm surprised he didn't get picked up. I didn't even see who got Harry Sheezel.
I did.
Thank you,
He
Rick.
was he was my second rounder, 18th pick, I think.
Yeah.
But I was like, yes, Sheezel, but I can't. I'm not going to do any more ruse.
Well,
Sorry.
there's one thing. The good thing we aren't actually regularly playing every single one of my defenders, at least in the starters, every single one of them is a halfback or halfback flanker.
Yeah.
Every single one. Sinclair, Stewart, Redmond, Smith, Impey, and Salem.
Yeah.
Decide
I
to
have-
go with the second D instead of a third from another team. And I want to see if
then
this
I'll
guy
do
gets picked
my
up.
other homer pick.
Yeah, I knew you were going to pick up McLean.
Oh, I needed a
Yeah.
backup. I needed a backup ruck for
Well, he's
Nankervis.
versatile, can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. Well,
Well, especially with Nank maybe having some injury clouds.
Yeah.
Hey, Donnie, I'm gonna ask you a question.
Shoot.
James Jordan, is he worth it?
Everything that I am hearing from all of my Swans friends, they are absolutely rapt about him. So, sounds like he's probably going to take the other wing spot alongside Errol Goulden on the other side. And they said he's literally going nuts. So I would probably say it's a good pick personally. In fact, I'm kicking myself now. I probably should have did that one.
That's all I needed
As
to
soon as you
hear.
asked the question, I was like, oh shit, I can't lie because he has like I literally I have messages from a couple
There's
of
the
my
homer pick.
Okay.
not a
Yep.
bad one. So, but yeah, like I had a friend of mine who I messaged. I was like, hey, can you tell me like the he watched the match on KO, and I was like, hey, just be honest with me. What do you think? And he goes James Jordan and Grundy, Campbell. He literally went off about 5 or 6 guys. He's
Gil,
like,
I think
they're
that's going to be a
all
great
looking
pick
really
for
good.
you there, sir.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a
I think he's gonna
terrific
have a
year
good
this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so because he needs to because he's been far too damn inconsistent.
Yeah.
And isn't his is he still looking for a new deal along with
Yep.
English?
Oh yeah, him English and Logan McDonald are the top 3 forwards that still haven't signed a contract yet. Many people are saying it could be the full forward year.
I'm waiting to see if one of these last 2 picks is the other guy that I want, and I might very quickly just actually drop that last pick I made. It's weird. Well, all right, Jimbo, you'd be the type of guy to take a little risk here.
Close us out, Jimbo.
Come
What
on,
do you-
give us something fun to end on.
All right, who is Mr. Irrelevant?
Not in
And
this
this is
league.
actually like just about the right number of picks too for an NFL draft.
And if he becomes like if he becomes like Brock Purdy, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Well, I think Ethan's last pick I think Ethan took Brian Myers as the very last pick last year,
Nice.
or like one of his last couple. So
Holy crap! I didn't know he didn't get picked up. Holy crap! Interesting.
I didn't
Okay,
see
so
who
who's
got the last pick.
we'll find out soon enough. It'll show
Yes,
the
we
whole
will.
draft queue, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes. Now
Yep. So
okay.
everybody's there. So
Yep.
I got
All right, who is the last pick?
I didn't even see.
Yeah.
Draft recap.
Yeah, that's what I didn't see that last pick.
Well, yeah, as soon as it went, let's see. Mr. Irrelevant 2024 is
Ginnivan.
No, he was already taken up.
Get him
He got already
Noah
James
Balta.
Was it Jack Billings?
Noah Balta, who spent the entire
Okay.
the entire season thus far, like the entire of the summer, up forward.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
But
was
he's listed
looking. I
as a
was looking
defender,
at
so
the
maybe
And just
Jimbo is
and just to
Jimbo's
double check,
banking
just to let you
on,
guys, hey, everybody, the your fixture is also out, and the league does start round 1
okay. Good.
Yeah,
I'll
because
tell
I
you, I
didn't see
had-
a whole bunch of people
because if you'd like to know, here's the fixture for your first round. Myself and Ben, Ross and Steez, Lee and Jimbo, Jawan and Rick,
Damn.
Ben Markham v. Gil,
Rick,
and Craig versus Ethan. That
There we
is
go.
round 1's
A cat fight, round 1.
pretty much.
There we go.
So-
I'm excited,
so-
boys.
Hey,
Hey,
here's,
let-
here's a
and,
very quick question. How do you see your team on the actual grid on the
There should be, if you go
Mine
to
popped up.
Yeah, I just
If you
have
go
a
to
look.
My Team and then if you're on desktop, it has an option to show it either as field view or grid view, kind of in the right of that blue taskbar.
I'm clicking on field view, but it doesn't give me field view.
Interesting, because I just clicked on it. It just hopped onto it right now.
Yeah, my field view popped up on its own. Yeah.
All right, let me refresh and see what happens.
So let me ask you guys. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, go, Craig.
I was gonna say, I got into some hot water with my sister today because I spend Sundays over at my mom's house. She's 81, and we watched the Browns games during the season, but now that football's over, I've got my HBO Max stuff set up on her Roku, so we were poking around on there today and looking at Turner Classic Movies, and she saw one that looked interesting to her, and she said, "Can we watch that one?" I said, "Sure." So I sat down to watch Seven with my 81-year-old mom today. which is the interesting thing. She had one jump scare where the guy that they hit. If you've not seen it, sorry, it's been out a while. Spoiler alert. The guy who he kept injecting the drugs with over the course of the year. That jump scare scared the hell out of her. But at the end of the film, when they got out into the desert, and the box shows up, and she looks at me, she said, "Is his wife's head in the box?" I said,
wow.
"Yeah, it is." Said,
and fun fact, the scene with the Sloth victim where like that jump scare, that was not planned. They didn't, or it was planned, but they didn't tell John C. McGinley, who played the SWAT guy, that he's going to move. So that reaction is 100% real.
Good. You got a legit reaction there. Yeah, that's
you absolutely do. Great movie.
Yeah, we had just been talking about the show Mindhunter. And David Fincher.
Yeah.
And David Fincher, and rumors are it's coming back. Rumors are it's coming back for a third season. That they're going to be doing a third.
Yeah. I heard the same. But another fun fact about Seven, or like how they filmed it. So like they actually did like this chemical process. They shot on actual film. This 93, 94, and so they did like this thing. It's called like bleach bypass, which meant they basically like stripped out a lot of the excess color in the physical film, and it made it a lot more shadowy and contrasty. That's why it has that kind of distinctive look to it. And of course, David Fincher works with the same production designer on every film, so that's kind of why it always kind of looks similar, kind of similar lighting.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'd seen it a couple times, but it was fun watching her watch it. So because she said, I read all these mysteries. She said, when I saw that, she said, I knew exactly what was happening here. She said, because she said, when they showed, him as the photographer, when they showed the pictures in his apartment, he said, I thought that must have been the bad guy. Because I told her, I said, it's a big name star that didn't show up in the credits that you're going to see later on in the film.
And he's persona non grata now, but that actually makes the performance even creepier, in my opinion. But,
Hey, fellas, I hate to hop in. I really hate to do this, but unfortunately, I got to get going because I actually have a coaches meeting with a coach in Australia at 5 a.m. So I am going to end the recording, and I am going to get
Captain
off here.
Buzzkill.
Hey, sorry, I got other things to do. So, hey,
I got to go
best
take my
of
dog
luck.
for a walk still.
Hey, great seeing everybody.
Yeah, great to catch up with everybody.
Hey, Gil, I heard you're heading off to Japan soon.
Well, actually, Sri Lanka first.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, Sri Lanka and
safe travels.
Yeah, thank you, Sri Lanka.